Hi everyone, welcome back. I am here to go over some of the vegetable seeds that I'm going to be putting in the garden this year. So I have a lot of space dedicated to flowers. I'm hoping that we get to double the space of my fenced-in garden this year. So I'll take it from, right now it's a 50 by 25, we'll take it to a 50 by 50 space. So our plan is to just extend it another 25 feet. It will take you along for that whole process because I have a lot of flowers. And right now I'm just going to focus on going over the vegetables, but I'm excited to see what the season holds. So I'm going to go through some of the varieties, where I get stuff from, usually where I source seeds. I have seeds from I'm gonna say up to 4 years ago, because I haven't used a whole pack yet, so I'm still working my way through. I have a good handful of seeds that I've gotten just from large box stores, so they're like a Burpee brand. I order a lot of my seeds for like tomatoes from Johnny's Select Seeds, and then this year was the first year that I ordered stuff from Baker's Creek or rareseeds.com, mostly because I wanted to try out one of the melons that I'm going to show you. So to start, I have some dill. I'm always going to have dill in my garden. Reason being, my husband likes dill beans, so I'll grow green beans or just a small handful, enough that I can them. But if I don't have dill, then I can't make dill beans. It's a whole thing. So I usually just have like a plant or two somewhere stuck along the side. I don't dedicate a lot of space to it. I'm going to have cucumbers. So I've done a mixture of pickling and slicer cucumbers in the past. I did order cucumbers from Baker's Creek and Cash Market cucumbers. I believe that's how you pronounce that. I'm excited to try these out. I've always tried to grow them on a cattle panel trellis, and I've had fair to medium luck, kind of depending on the year. This last year wasn't a great year for cucumbers because it was so cool for so long. So we'll see. I think I'm still going to try to dedicate space on a trellis to that, just because on the ground they can really be viney and sprawly and take up a lot more space, or if you can get them to grow vertically, they take up less space. I have a pile of greens. I have some lettuce, just iceberg lettuce that I wanted to try last year, so maybe I'll try that. I have tried different salad mixes and so far have not found one that I like, but I almost always do some kale, so I'll start the kale early and then I can put that out really soon because I think the kale from last year is still in the garden, even though it's been frozen and snowed on and everything else. Spinach, I always do a little patch of spinach. As long as you do it early enough, I find that you can harvest some for salads. A lot of these other ones that I have, like that's another kale, I'll use that. But the green mixes, I might do some, but I don't know that I'm going to dedicate a lot of space to those. So spinach, definitely. Kale, definitely. Maybe iceberg lettuce. We'll see. Baker's Creek always sends out free seed packets, and I have a merlot lettuce to try out. So we'll probably try that out in one spot. It's a nice red leaf lettuce by the looks. I have beets. So these are Detroit dark reds. And these I'll start in a spot because I'll be able to, once I pull these out, because you can start these pretty early. Once I start these out, or pull these out of the ground, I can put something else in there and rotate through. I don't grow a ton of beets. I don't pickle beets, but I really like to roast beets. So I just kind of grow enough to have a handful of roasted at some point in the summer. Along the same lines as the beets, I have cherry bell radishes, and same idea. They grow really fast, and I don't really eat radishes raw unless I make like a tuna mac salad and throw in radishes. Those are pretty good. But usually I roast them with potatoes, and just my favorite. I love them. Love them roasted. Cabbage. I will probably try for some cabbage. Again, not a ton. I don't have a ton of luck with cabbage due to snails and flea beetles and cabbage beetle or cabbage caterpillars and moths and all that stuff. But usually I manage to get like 1 or 2 good heads, and I'll make coleslaw out of that. I always look forward to that. Squash, because no garden is complete without summer squash. So I have some zucchini, and I think there's at least 30 seeds in here. This will probably last me years. I do like 2 plants of zucchini, because otherwise you're overrun. Every gardener thinks they need like 5 plants, and they don't. You need like 2, just in case one fails. But you don't need more than 2. Summer squash, like I said, same idea there. I'll only have about 2 plants. This has like 30 seeds in it, so that'll last me quite a while. I usually start 4 or 5 seeds at a time, but 2 plants, 2 hills. At the end of the day, that's all I need, because that's all I'm going to go through. I have kohlrabi here on the table, but I don't think that's going to be something I end up trying again this year. I've given it space before, but I've never actually like used it. And if you're going to put something in the garden, you're going to take the time to grow it and give it the space. It's got to be something you're going to use and dedicate time to. So I don't think I'm going to be growing any of that this year. I have Brussels sprouts, and I've grown these before. I thought I grew a whole bunch of them last year, but it turns out they were celery. So I have these pelleted seeds in here, which I do believe are the celery. And then I have seeds down in the packet. I believe the seeds are the actual Brussels sprouts, and the pelleted are celery. So I'm going to try to grow 5 to 10, somewhere in there, Brussels sprout plants next year, and hope that they're actually Brussels sprouts. That said, I do plan to try to grow celery. The variety of Brussels sprouts that I'm doing is called Deegan, F1. And then the celery is a Tango. So, hoping to do celery. If you're going to do celery, I definitely recommend starting it early, because it takes a long time to germinate. At least in my experience. It was like 21 days to germinate the last couple of times that I've tried it. Should have been my first clue last year, because Brussels sprouts don't take that long, when it took forever for them to sprout. So, I'll be doing celery. Less celery than last year, though. Next pile that I'm going to look at. Okay, so here's the melon. Called the Kajari melon. This is the melon that Jess on Roots and Refuge talks about all the time. And I'm really excited to grow it and hopefully succeed and hopefully be able to taste it. This is something I am going to grow on the trellis for sure. So I have 1 trellis right now. I probably will pick up another cattle panel and do 2 next year. And this is definitely going on at least one side, if not both sides of a trellis. I also have acorn squash. I've debated putting this one on a trellis. It sprawls out quite a bit, but I've had it in the garden before where it just so happened that whenever the goats ate the acorn squash from the year before, the seeds were in the compost, and they grew all over the place, and I just didn't pull them. I let them grow, and I had a ton of acorn squash. Must have been 2 years ago. And it really didn't mess with any of the plants, so I might try it on a trellis. I'm a little worried about the fruit being really heavy for a trellis, but I'm going to do a little bit more research and see. It might be something where I get some kind of support system to tie up the fruit or hold them up, because the trellis would be a good way to limit the amount of space they're taking up. The next thing that I have, so I have old seeds and I have new seeds. I'm going to try to use up my old seeds, but I had really, really poor germination last year from my Walla Walla seeds. And I have a whole bunch of Walla Walla seeds here for my onions. They make a really sweet onion. And I actually didn't end up, I ended up with like 2 Walla Walla onions, which made me really sad because I make like this Vidalia onion dressing out of it, and then I freeze it so that like the dressing's all made, and I can just cook up some chicken, throw it in it, bake it. Oh, delicious, like must try. But I like growing my own onions to make it, and the Walla Wallas are the best because they're a sweet onion. I didn't have any last year, so I did buy new Walla Walla onion seed to hopefully increase my germination. I still have some Pattersons, which are a yellow onion. They're a pretty good storage onion, which is why I have those. They germinated well last year, but they didn't size up, and I think I didn't have enough nitrogen in my soil. So, going to try those again. Also ordered some more Patterson because I think the amount of seeds that I have in here, will probably get me through one more year. So I will probably plant all of these when I start my seeds. And I start my seeds in a really cool way. I'll try to show that to you in a video. I learned that from M.I. Gardener, where more or less you put all your seeds in like one tray and just kind of grow them on until they're big enough and the weather's warm enough to put them outside. But onions will take colder weather than you think they will because they separate really easy, so I don't have to have, they take up less space that way. And then I also ordered to try this year red onions. So I ordered some red carpet red onions. I'm going to try these. I don't have as much use for a red onion because I do a lot more of my cooking with yellow onions. So I probably won't do as many. But I wanted to have the variety because I'm not going to lie. Next to potatoes, onions are probably my favorite thing to grow. Because I love when I do manage to get enough nitrogen in the soil and they size up and they can be a really awesome looking crop. So if you don't eat onions, but you might use them in cooking, and if you garden, I recommend you know how to cook or learn how to cook or even just try to cook, because a lot of these are ingredients more than just a snack. It's not like I eat onions raw, but I cook them into like everything. So having a lot of onions is very useful. That's why I have a 25-foot bed of them normally. So, next thing on the list, I'm going to go over the carrots. So I'm going to do carrots. I probably will pick up some carrots from the store as well, because I've had so-so luck. Before, I've done the pelleted carrots and had terrible luck with them. So this year I decided I was going to try the unpelleted kind. Last year I did them underneath the trellis with the hopes the cucumbers were going to grow over top and shade it and blah blah blah. That didn't happen, but the carrots grew fabulous underneath the trellis. So probably going to try that again or do that same setup. And I have Borello carrots and Romance carrots to try, which they're both orange carrots if I remember correctly. Pretty sure they're both orange carrots. So I might pick up a rainbow mix or something just for fun colored carrots to have. We'll see how those do this year. Okay, the last ones are the fun ones. I also have peas, just basic snap peas, sugar snap peas. I think they're like a sprinter sugar pea. Something where you can shell them. I like to shell peas. It's fun. But they're still sweet, so you can eat the pod too. So I have some of those, and then I have green beans, just I think Blue Lake green beans, and then I have some golden wax beans. And I grow a small amount of those because I like beans, my husband doesn't like beans, and my girls haven't figured out what they like at all. Send help for that. But, so I also have beans, but I don't have those seeds out in front of me. I think that's everything. Yeah, that's everything vegetable-wise. Okay, so the fun part, tomatoes. I get all excited about tomatoes. I didn't, believe it or not, I didn't eat tomatoes up until 2020. I didn't like tomatoes. I didn't believe that tomatoes were good. I still don't eat a lot of tomato products. Like, I like red sauce, but I don't like ketchup. I like tomato soup. I only like specific tomatoes and can deal with the disappointment, the lack of flavor really, that you get when you buy store-bought tomatoes for the winter, because winter's forever here, so I kind of have to accept my fate. But a large tomato, a slicing tomato, I don't buy those at all because I just can't imagine they would taste anywhere as good as what they taste out of the garden. I'd never had a tomato sandwich until 2020. Well, like watching Jess eat tomato sandwiches or talk about tomato sandwiches, I was like, oh my gosh, I think I need to try this. And she says if I grow my own tomatoes, it'll be better. She was right. And now I have an addiction. So thank you, Jess, for my addiction to tomatoes. I'm sure I'm not the only one. But I have a whole bunch of varieties that I have grown in the past and really like. And then I also had to get more because you never have enough tomatoes. So I have Mountain Fresh, which are a determinate tomato. I will start some of these. I had decent luck with them last year, but I didn't love them. Striped German, I like these a lot. I like the color, but they definitely have a lot more cat facing and a lot more blemishes. So I still think I'm going to do some of those. The Nepals are awesome tomatoes. I definitely recommend Nepals because they are a nice red tomato and they're so perfectly shaped. And they kind of ripen all at one time. So like that is a little bit of a challenge, but you can freeze them. I still have a bunch in the freezer that I need to make sauce with. And they're a really good slicing tomato. Amish paste, I've grown these, but they split really easy. Or at least for me, they split really easy. So I didn't grow them last year. I don't think I'm going to grow them again this year, but I still have seeds left. In terms of cherry tomatoes, Super Sweet 100s are awesome. They do crack pretty easy if we get any kind of rain, so trying to keep up with them can be a challenge, but the flavor is amazing. White cherry tomatoes, those ones crack somewhat, but not nearly as bad as the Super Sweets. I like them quite a bit. They add a lot of color. The flavor is so-so for me. Indigo cherry drops, these are like a purple dark tomato. They take forever. I feel like they're like the last ones to ripen. But they don't crack very easily, so even once they are ripe, I think it's just because they take forever to truly get to ripe stage, they last quite a while on the vine, which I really enjoy. And mixed in with a bunch of other cherry tomatoes, I like them. Standalone, not my favorite, but one of my friends absolutely loves them. So I'll grow them, if not for me, for her, because I usually give her some starts. So I ordered some more Super Sweets because I was running low on those. The new cherry tomatoes that I got to try are called Sun Peach cherry tomatoes. So they're kind of like a blush and they're less likely to crack, but they're super, super tasty. So I'm really excited to try those. I'm hoping they're a lot like the Super Sweets without the cracking, which would be awesome. Then I ordered some Brandywine tomatoes because Jess has talked about them and I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to give it a try. So I'm excited to see how they do. I know my friend said these are one of her favorites, so she's excited that I'm starting seeds. Then I have Valencia. This is an orange tomato, or an oranger colored tomato. I'm excited to see how this one does. This one was more or less just the color. And then our last one that I have is called a Lemon Boy Plus tomato. This one is a yellow tomato, and it really caught my eye in the color, so I'm excited about the color. And it has, from what was described, kind of like a fruity flavor, like a tang to it, which I really like. Lemons are one of my favorite, like, flavored thing. Like a lemon dessert of any kind is the best. I love it. So I'm excited to see what these ones taste like, if they have like a lemony, sour tartness to them. And I'm excited to see the color because those will be like bright, bright yellow all the way through. So I'm excited to do that. I'm excited for colorful tomato sandwiches. I'm excited for tomatoes all around. I think that's everything besides some potatoes. I've done a couple different varieties, and the ones I think I like the most so far are like a white Eve or an Eve potato. So I think I might try to grow more of those next year if I can source seeds that are good seed potatoes that are good quality. I have some left in the fridge, so we'll see how many are left when it comes to planting time. Maybe I'll just pull some out early and see if they sprout and go from there. Then I'd have my own potato seeds. And I've done, is it Kenbeck? Kenbeck? Very common one. I like those, but the skins seem to stay a little dirtier on them. But they grow really well. They're a very vigorous plant. They make for a really big potato. And I think that's all. That's all my vegetables, right? Yeah, that's everything. So I still have to figure out how I'm fitting everything in and how many plants. I know I have pretty much a full row of cherry tomatoes and a full row of tomatoes. I have that committed in my mind. Definitely at least a row of potatoes, maybe two. I did two last year, and I have a ton left. I haven't gone through them as fast as I thought I would, but I also haven't been cooking as much. Again, my girls don't know what they want to eat because they're only like 17 months old, but they're picky. Of course, my luck. And they don't want to eat everything I've pulled out of the garden and like to make. But we'll see if that changes. Fingers crossed. So that's everything I have that I'm going to be putting in the garden. Stay tuned. I will go over all of my flower varieties that I have to put in the garden. I have everything. I'm just compiling my list and sorting out all the information. I have to pull some pictures up and stuff like that so that I can put together that video for you guys. So I want to say thank you for coming along, watching along. I hope you're excited for the garden season. I hope you're ordering your seeds and finding what you want to grow, the things that you know that you're going to eat, the things that you know your family will eat, the things that you know you just really enjoy. Even if it means you end up sharing a bunch of it with your neighbors or your community, tomatoes are so much fun. I highly recommend tomatoes and onions because they're just so much fun. It's such a reward to put all this time, energy, passion, sweat, blood, tears into growing food, into growing flowers. Once you start, you catch a bug and it won't go away. You crave that dirt, the draw to the earth. It's amazing. So if you haven't started gardening and you've sat all the way through this video and listened to varieties, this is me encouraging you can do this. I promise you can do this, and it will be so worth it and so much fun. Thank you for coming along today to listen to all the varieties I have. I'm excited for what is ahead of us, and I will see you on the next video.